If you are based out of Kolkata and if you want to go from one place to other, what do? You book a cab. You book a cab which is available on your phone. You download the app. You go to your app, you open the app, you put your destination, and you put your booking. The booking is accepted by the cab driver. You wait for the cab driver, and after some time, he cancels. What happens now? You have to go, you have to reach somewhere, and all of a sudden, your booking is cancelled. The cab company or the app company then again searches for a new driver, and you get an automated booking after that, and it gets cancelled again. Now think this situation where it's extremely emergency for you. You have to take someone from your place to the hospital, and all your cab bookings are cancelled every moment. Ladies and gentlemen, I have someone who has thought of this and completely eradicated this issue that people are facing. I have someone who is a visionary. I have someone who is extremely concerned about the environment. I have someone who has thought making people commute easily and without any headache. I have someone who is very young, energetic, from Kolkata, making things easier for people. He's changing lives. He's changing the way we commute. He's changing the way the environment reacts to us. I have Mr. Mayank Bindal with us, the CEO of Snappy. Hey Mayank, welcome to Tea Talkers podcast. It's been quite some times that I have been using Snappy for commuting. Whenever I travel, I land at the Kolkata airport. Rather booking some other cabs, I particularly tend to book a Snappy because I don't find cancellations. What brought this in your mind? First, an EV vehicle as an app cab. At the same time, what made your business policy bringing you the fact that people will not cancel? What has been the first thing that hit your mind that I have to build a policy where my drivers will not cancel bookings?
Uh, First of all, thank you for having me here, Souvik. I mean, there's a slight background to it. So it was never that we wanted to get into a cab industry or something like that. So businesses keep on pivoting from one thought to the other, right? So the initial thought was, so I'm a second generation entrepreneur. My father is an entrepreneur. So uh, he always said one thing, right? So you should always look for businesses which are futuristic, and that has been one of the learnings out of many learnings from my father, that you always keep on learning from your father, right? He's the best guidance. He's the best MBA school for you, right? And he has taught me this. So he mentioned that keep on looking for something which is quite futuristic. So that was always in my mind while I was handling something else, which is my dad's company, which is still up and running. It's listed on the Bombay Stock Exchange. So kind of build a scalable business, but always was in the search of doing something new which is happening in the world right now. EV being one of them. So there are a couple of things right now I can name, like AI and machine learning is something which is crazy right now in the technological space. Biotech engineering is something which is crazy, which has always been very close to my heart, although I don't know what I'll do in that. EV was again one of those things that I was kind of pursuing or trying to pursue in my future business scope. When I looked at EV, there were many avenues, of course, right? So there were avenues like battery technology, there was avenues like charging technology, there were avenues like mobility in the overall space. Uh, why mobility stuck predominantly with us was for the fact that we understood that, okay, like how we shifted from the so-called erstwhile ICE engines, which are typical diesel petrol engines, then we moved, being from the conscious side for the environment side, right? So we moved on to the CNG business, the CNG part, and we knew that, okay, the next transition from ICE to CNG to EV is evident. That was kind of was falling in our thoughts, like, okay, EV is something which is going to come. So what in EV? Shall we get into charging or shall we get into mobility? So we thought why not both, right? Kind of, let's figure out how we can play the charging part as well, and how we can anchor it with some mobility piece. So I mean, it's like chicken and egg story. So if you look at any charging company, right, they will always keep on complaining कि while there are no cars on the road, our utility is so down that we are not making business. And the mobility companies are complaining that there's no charging enough on the road, so how do we run the vehicles? So we kind of understood, okay, it's a chicken and egg story, and we probably need to hatch both at the same time. So we need to create our own charging spaces as well as probably anchor it with our own mobility company. So the thought was that while we were doing our research for mobility, what is missing from the Olas, Ubers, or Rapidos, or any such app cab companies, though they have again revolutionized, say, the travel the way we used to. I mean, there are again stories related to it, how I used to drop my father to Hyatt Hotel, near Hyatt Hotel, because that's the only place in the morning where you used to get those yellow cabs to go to the airport. So those were the days. Now it's like you're sitting in your bedroom while you're changing your clothes, you can just book a cab. So that they had already revolutionized that. But what we also were trying to see is what is different. The only two problems that came from the consumer side was the cancellation problem, which you just mentioned in your premise, and the second was I mean, the questions that the driver started to ask: कहाँ जाओगे, कब जाओगे, क्यों जाओगे, कैसे पैसे दोगे, ये वो. So there were a lot of questions that were coming from the driver side before you can sit into the cab, and which kind of irritated the customer. So these were the two major challenges that we saw from the consumer end. So we spoke to a lot of drivers also, and drivers had their own issues, like there is payment of EMI, the revenue is very less, the commission has drained down. There's a lot of problem with the maintenance and upkeep of the asset, the car itself, whereas there is not enough income for them, especially post-COVID. This all happened post-COVID. Pre-COVID, Uber, Olas of the world were giving decent, incentives to the drivers. While again, businesses have to make money, so there was always a linear curve going down in giving those incentives. So we thought, why not build a business which helps the consumer, which helps the driver, and which helps the business as well. I mean, all of us make some, decent money. And how is that going to happen? Because of EV. One of the bigger reasons of EV, since the running cost of any mobility, whether it is airline industry or any industry for that matter, which is a trucking industry, the major cost is the running cost, the diesel, petrol, or the fuel that you're filling in, right? So while EV electricity cost and the conversion of that electricity into mileage is very fairly lower. I mean, it's the least in the entire mobility ecospace, right, from diesel, CNG, and then last is EV. The only challenge right now with EV is that the capital expenditure is very high. While that happened much later into the business once we went in. So going back to your original question, what made us get into it? So of course, it was a lot of research, a lot of kind of, I would say, thought behind it. And three major things stuck to our head. EV is inevitable. It is going to happen. It's not your choice. It's the government who's going to mandate it. And if you see the recent policies of states like Maharashtra, Delhi, they've already started to ban CNG as well. So not in the four-wheeler space, but at least in the two-wheeler, three-wheeler space. So that shows it indicates where the government thoughts are also going towards, right? So it is inevitable. So again, connecting the dots for you. So dad's thought, be in the futuristic business, the way EV is going forward in our lives, it is inevitable. So that was there. Ki acha chalo, we don't have to change in the middle that, this is going to stick around. The second was, I mean, it's a 100-year-old industry, cabs. I mean, where are they going? I mean, it's going nowhere. So people will still commute. Aap kitna bhi metro, tram, kuch bhi chala lo. Ultimately, cabs would be required as in your end mile connectivity, right? You cannot have a metro station or a tram station outside every house. So people will commute for their end mile from the airports, from the railway stations, for their offices, for their homes, or whatever it is. I mean, people will take cabs. And the third thing is what we felt, India if you look at the history, I mean, India's GDP is going crazy. I mean, it is increasing, per capita income is going crazier, and people want, if you recently see, people want niche services. They don't want the basic anymore. So it's like how my, how I see it. The grandfathers of our generation, I'm like, my dadu was working for meeting his, roti kapda makan, what do we call that, like the basics. Dad was trying to work for his, like, luxury quotient, and we are now trying to, the Gen Zs of the world are trying to kind of do the good things, like, protecting the environment, ensuring the world stays for them, right? So all these combined, people are looking for sustainable stuff. They are not looking for very general stuff. Combining all these thoughts, we realize no, we are in the right side of businesses. Maybe if not today, but tomorrow, this can really scale up. This can really help people to travel more sustainably, and at the same time make better living for the drivers, partners as well, because they don't have to own the asset, maintain the asset. हम लोग अपने भाषा में इनको कहते हैं कि they live hand to mouth, right? So basically they what they earn every day, that's what they get. अभी उनकी गाड़ी किसी भी कारण, if it gets stuck or service or accidents or anything, for those couple of days their actually revenue goes down and it becomes difficult for them at the house level. So we thought, why give the asset ownership to them? Rather let them come, pick up the vehicle, drive, and let us manage the entire, asset as well. So these were the thoughts which led us.
This is something which is not just futuristic. You are also thinking of the well-being of people as well. You are talking about best of environmental things. You're talking about thinking futuristic. You're talking about making an ecosystem which is more sustainable, and at the same time which will keep generations going in the days to come. But at the same time, you are also thinking of well-being of people, not just helping them to financially get stronger, but at the same time their mental peace is also maintained. They don't have to look for the usage of the cabs which they own. They are also looking for, they're not looking for passengers per se as such, right? But what my question is, when you talk about well-being of people, there are three categories of people that we normally see around in the society. One is who is extremely learned, who are trying to bring change in the society, who are thinking of making a better future for others. The second is who run with the flow, जैसे चल रहा है उनके साथ बहक जाओ, and don't bring the change. Whatever is happening around, let it happen. And the third category, who are dependent on these two. The third category is the most sensitive category, rather. Maybe our partners, your partners, the driver partners, who are dependent on the first two. There, if you see their education background, if you see their learning agility, if you see how they work from the morning till evening, it's mostly the physical labor that they're putting in. What was first in your mind when you thought of helping these drivers, partners, thinking about a better life, or maybe that mental peace?
See, I mean, you rightly put it. So I would say white collar, grey collar,
Blue
and
collar,
blue
yeah.
collar. So I mean, that's the division that you have done, right? So the white collars are the elite people who are the thinking minds of the entire world. I mean, they are setting up policies, procedures, better world. They are coming with innovation. While you need fuel, right? So fuel is the blue collar. So very great analogy that I came across a couple of days back. So the entire fight in the world is for fuel. So कोई तेल के लिए लड़ रहा है, right? And now the alternate fuel is energy, or what we call as energy is again batteries, right? So that's again something which is futuristic. Otherwise, if you go 100 years back, slaves, or rather human power was rather fuel, right? I mean, we were utilizing humans as our fuel to move everything, right? So it's the same thing, right? So driver partners are laborious people, right? But unfortunately in India, and I always compare this with Europe's and Americas and much more developed countries and what more than India, I would say, where you commonly see the drivers or kind of chauffeurs, for that matter, are not the same kind of category that we have in India, right? So they are well groomed. They are wearing suits and jackets, and wearing nice watches and shoes, and coming in and driving Mercedes and
Correct.
BMWs, and driving you from one place to the other. But that is what the consumer is also paying for. It is very unfortunate that in India, taxi as a mobility, uh, I mean, as a mobility function is again very cheap. You're paying, uh, I would say, 1/10 of what you would end up paying in a city like Dubai or a city like London or a Paris or something like that, right? So it is difficult for us also to uplift the driver partners to, of course, that extent. But what we realized, how can we bring peace for them, right? So the first thing that we realized, okay, EVs first of all are very easy to drive. If you suddenly see that now the driver partners that come to us, they are amazed to see all the cars are
Yeah.
automatic. So there is no gear. So in fact, there are so many drivers who come to us and ask, "Sir, ये left leg का करना क्या है?" Because they are not even used to basically not utilizing their left leg for the clutch and the manual
Right.
gearbox, right? So so now I came. In fact, yesterday only I met about 20-25 driver partners at my office, and we were doing something called Driver Samaj, which we keep on doing every week, and try to understand what is happening with them. Is there any issue, feedbacks, and whatnot? So one of the drivers said that I can't even think about go back and driving a manual car, because I have been driving with Snappy for almost 2.5 years now, since inception, and I have become so habituated with that car. It is so smooth and so flexible that I can't even imagine going back and driving those cars. So that's one mental piece that I can surely say that they have got. The second thing that I really feel is that they are not kind of aggressively pushed for completing rides, or aggressively pushed for kind of doing revenue, because of the fact that um, when they have their own asset, right? So they are always calculating or optimizing for the cost that they are incurring, right? So they are calculating EMI, service cost,
The fuel
the
cost.
diesel, the fuel, CNG cost, and whatnot, and then eventually reverse engineering that how much should I earn so that I can go back to the kind of home with certain kind of cash at the end of the day. While I said, right, the problem with the current set of app cab aggregators is that since they are also in kind of red for a very long time, now they are trying to optimize their business PL sheets, right, while reducing the kind of commissions to these people. Unfortunately, in this race, nobody is winning because consumer is paying the least, and somebody needs to kind of foot in the bills to kind of make money for everyone. So, I mean, what we generally tell the driver partners are that, okay, you don't have to work 16 hours a day or 14 hours a day. You work 10, 11 hours a day like a normal human being, like everybody is working. A normal person like you, me, everybody works for about 10, 12 hours a day. You work for that. You do your 8, 9 trips, 10 trips, whatever you want, and forget about the asset. Just deposit the car and go. I mean, and they are kind of in a fixed come variable pay model, so they are also secured in their head. Okay, this is what I'm going to earn at the end of the month, like how most of our salary job kind of person thinks. So that's the way I think we are trying to ensure their well-beings are taken care of, and they don't have to kind of worry every now and then for their kind of revenue what they're earning. But the vision, right? The vision still remains. How can we get them there? From the driver partner status to the chauffeur status.
Uh, I think that is where consultants like us should play an important role, because what happens is that when you deal with such category of people, it is not just about going and telling them what to do, but also telling them why they need to do this, showing them that vision, synchronizing your vision with their vision. It takes time, but it is not impossible. So what happens here, as far as my experience goes, is when we deal with such categories of people who are as per se blue collared, the first thing we try to inculcate is them what about the purpose of their living? What is the purpose? Is it like waking up in the morning, earn some money and go off sleep at night? Or is it something else that they need to fulfill? They have dreams, they have some achievements to be achieved, they have a family to be run, they have kids. How they can raise the bar of the quality of living. That is something which we also need to showcase them in the days to come. So while I say this, Mayank, let me also go a little bit personal with you. Something about Mayank Bindal. You said your father has been one of the dictionaries for your business, maybe one of the handholders who have actually rather a torchbearer for you. But at the same time, he may have suggested you about being futuristic. You need to be futuristic only through your way of looking at life. I mean, I'm trying to simplify my question. If my father says that you have to be futuristic, you have to do something which will be more sustainable, helping the environment, you should do something like that. I get his suggestions, I try to implement it, but then I sit back. It doesn't work like that, right? So this oscillation between what my guide says and what am I doing, there's a thin line there. How did you maintain this?
Good question. So, what you're trying to ask is basically, while ideas are being thrown every day, but how do you implement those ideas into action, right? So, again, that's something that comes from within. I am blessed to be surrounded with very like-minded people. It also happens when you are surrounded with all those people who are always looking what future brings in for you, right? So be it friends, colleagues, family, it is a very big community that you build around you, which actually keeps on pushing you to kind of think through. And I can easily vouch that the kind of friends and colleagues that I have. So I keep on saying this one more thing very constantly. You be in a room which is always full of people, but you should not be the smartest person in that room. But then there's nothing to learn. And if you are the smartest person in the room, then you are in the wrong room. That's something that I've always again inculcated in my life. If I am the smartest person in that room, then what is there to learn? I will not learn anything. So I might as well as just impart knowledge. I mean, that's waste of time, and just get out and be in that room where there are more intelligent people. So, and again connecting the dots. So whenever I'm sitting with my friends, colleagues, they are all very intelligent people. So we keep on sharing a lot of ideas. क्या कर सकते हैं? How can we do it? Kind of stuff, kind of stories. Or I met this guy and he said this. Okay, he said this. Can you connect me to him? So that is the kind of strings that we keep on attaching, right? One more thing that again my dad said, and a lot of people I again impart when I get the chance. Travel, move out. Don't stay in Calcutta always. I tell all my friends that just don't stick around here, guys. I mean, there are a lot of thoughts and ideas to be shared outside this small ecosystem as well. When I say Calcutta, not demeaning anything about the city that per se, I'm just because I am from Calcutta and I am talking about the people that I meet in Calcutta, that guys, move out. I mean, go to Delhi, go to Bombay. Lot of my friends keep on complaining, like, tu itna travel kyun karta hai, bro? I mean, why you are always on the flight? Because I would like to learn more. And I was just telling you inside your chamber that I went to Delhi last week, met so many people, got so many ideas, and that is how things work. Because the people that you will meet in Calcutta, being a localite here in Calcutta, is finite. I mean, you'll keep on bumping into the same people. So how can you actually create more ideas? And that's another thing that I keep on telling people is, just move out. काम नहीं है, कोई बात नहीं, जाओ ना बैंगलोर में 2 सेमिनार अटेंड करके आ जाओ, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं. You'll definitely meet few people and you will get to learn more. Because a lot of things are happening in cities like Delhi, Bombay, Gurgaon, Hyderabad, Chennai, but we are not maybe aware of. So that's another thing that my dad taught me. The third thing, and which is which is most important, which I feel today is missing from the entire the puzzle, the piece. People have stopped reading. They've lost the habit of reading. ये phone आ गया है बीच में and people keep on doing this. entire time. I mean, they just keep on scrolling and watching some stupid videos, right? Guys, just read, yeah. There is so much to read. So I'll just show you my phone. From morning 7:38 in the morning till about 10, I get some 7 to 8 articles from Ken, from Your Story, from Cap Table, all these things, because I'm right now interested in the startup space. So I keep on reading like what is happening in the world, right? Which keeps me updated. Of course, newspaper is one thing, books is something, but read articles. Just keep on reading some papers written by somebody, some random person. You will come across great ideas. You will learn so much. But people have stopped reading. I mean, they're spending so much time on the screen, but actually not doing the right stuff.
And that's a major concern. I keep on getting people.
I believe so.
Yeah, in Tea Talker session, when we meet people in the cafes, there are a lot of youngsters we meet who are lacking concentration, who can't focus on one thing for a certain period of time. And the main reason is that their content is changing every 30 seconds the moment they scroll up. The content moves on. There's a next content that comes which is about a different topic at all. So the brain doesn't register the actually what the content should be registered inside. The brain doesn't understand that, and this is becoming a major concern. I'm sure in your office you are finding people whom you are trying to take an interview, you're trying to onboard them. There are a lot of youngsters who are coming. This is a major concern you are facing, that people they do not know what they want actually. They're confused. They need happiness, they need money, they need wealth to be wealthy, but they don't know the definition of these three.
I come across so many people, they want to become rich today. They don't understand the concept of compounding. So I'm slightly in the middle. So I'm not 20 anymore and I'm not 70 anymore. So I understand both the worlds. I understand my father's world, I understand my kids' world as well, right? So, I'll tell you a small story, and this I related to myself. So you remember when we were growing up in our teens or early teens, or not even teens, rather like 9, 10, 11 years old, and some uncle asked us like, "Tum bade hoke kya banoge?"
Doctor or an engineer.
The average answer was a doctor, engineer, or a lawyer, or a. I used to always say a fighter pilot, so some crazy thought in my head कि jet चलाएंगे, right? So I always Navy जाएंगे, Army जाएंगे, Air Force जाएंगे, something like that. A couple of months back, I was bringing my kid home from a birthday party, and a couple of his friends were sitting in the car. I was supposed to drop them, and my wife was there. And I just randomly asked one of the kids, like, "तू बड़े होके क्या बनना चाह रहे हो यार? I mean, what do you want to become?" The answer came, I want to be a content
creator.
Content creator. Like, okay. I didn't have a backup. Like, fair enough. I mean, so then I went back home and I told my wife, what has happened to this world? I mean, like, nobody wants to become a lawyer or engineer or a doctor anymore. I mean, what these guys are going to do becoming content creators, how are they going to save lives, or, you probably build rockets or build ships. I don't know what is happening. So, it's funny, but I am not the right person to judge whether this is right or wrong, or is this what we are actually evolving into. So as I said, I read a lot again. So I was reading this book called Homo Deus. It's a very famous book, and then Homo Sapiens and Homo Deus. So I'd like to know where we are evolving. So probably this is where we are evolving. I mean, getting into...
Yeah, but Mayank, do you think that I'm shifting our discussion a little bit to something else? Do you think preaching a bit of spirituality and bringing in a part of spiritual, I'm not saying spirituality per se in the sense of worshipping or showing agarbatti to Bhagwan. I'm saying spirituality is becoming a little more genuine, removing the facade, and maybe creating a genuineness in your acts, in what you showcase to others and what you talk to others. Spirituality in the sense being a little more natural to what you are, who you are from within. Spirituality in terms of preaching what I'm creating as an energy, because if you're sitting here, you're emanating energy to me. Same with me, same with all my people behind the camera. So is this kind of practices, do you think can heal this type of issues that youngsters are facing?
So again, picking up an example from my home. So I have a younger sister, right? So she recently moved to US. She did her graduation and then post graduation in US, and she's into graphic designing and whatnot. So suddenly this February she came from US for a quick break home, and I happened to catch up with her for a while. She stayed in our home for a couple of days, and suddenly I realized that she was a girl, like about 10, 12 years younger than me. So of course there's a kind of a generation gap, I would say. My own, like kind of my own sister, my chacha's daughter, right? So suddenly this time I hear that she's getting like Satvik, like she left eating non-vegetarian, she stopped drinking, she stopped smoking, she stopped or partying, or whatever the kids do these days, right? I mean the natural stuff. Every Saturday you go out, you do whatever you want, and suddenly got into yoga, suddenly got into sattvic food. Only one time she's eating in the day, and she's getting very spiritual, reading Bhagavad Gitas and whatnot. And like I was like, okay, I mean, what changed your mind? So I'm not too sure how that happened, but yes, I can vouch for it that people who are really getting, probably that's again one more space where they are feeling peaceful and happy, is I would put it that way. While people like me are always happy to be in a room full of people talking business,
That is also a
money,
kind of a, yeah,
right?
absolutely.
That's my way of getting happy. My wife's way of getting
Mm.
happy is probably be with the kids and always, cherishing around the kids and kind of, spend her entire day with the kids. And then I have this sister who is kind of alone, lives out of Austin, US, and I don't know how many friends she has back there, but yeah, I recently realized she's quite kind of content being alone, like just leave me alone.
Yeah, I think somewhere spirituality talks about being genuine. So if you are being genuine with people around you, you are anyways practicing spirituality because you are being you among them. Right? Just now you said that I want to be the stupid person in a group because that's how I learn. Confessing this is a spiritual practice. There are not many who will not confess this at all. Yeah. Yeah. So this is again an indirect way of showing that how spiritual you are. But at the same time, we'll move towards the end of our podcast now. How do you see, I mean, we were just discussing behind before we started this podcast, we were discussing how you have grown, number of offices that you had maintained inside the residential areas. Then you have moved to a bigger office right now, and you have a larger vision moving out to Delhi and other parts of India. Without great people and great mind, this would not be possible. So Mayank Bindal alone can't do this, right? It's always a team. Correct. So how do you think you can synchronize your vision with the team? Because any person who is joining your team has a different ambition, has a different things to be achieved. How do you align them?
See, again, one word, communication. So while we sit in a room, right, and I am thinking, okay, I want to build this. This is the way I want to build it. This is the way it is going to look like. This is the way it is going to be operated. While you can think, put everything on a piece of paper or in your mind, right? First of all, what I do is, say I had 10 thoughts in the day while not even before reaching the office. First thing what I do is the bigger boardroom that you have also come and you have sat in that boardroom. So there's a whiteboard there. I write all my thoughts there, and then once the team, the leadership team probably gets together, right? That is what we discuss, theme of the day. So this is what we are thinking, this is what we are communicating, this is what we are aligning to, right? And we have a habit between our team
very
members.
important.
We do X to X. So kind of like if I am throwing an idea and you are like, okay, this doesn't seem right. Okay, have I understood what you are actually throwing at me? So we have always a habit, like दिन में हम 200 बार X to X करते हैं कि भाई, are we on the same page? Because if you are not on the same page and if you don't communicate right, one is how used to happen, long back where, seniors used to come, you have to do this, this is what it is. That's about it. So it's kind of, flowing from the leadership ki, as an order. Nowadays, the world has changed. It is no more an order. If you have a room full of people who are MBA graduates from, like, say, IIM Ahmedabads and Kolkata's and IIT graduates, and, you have to provide them with that respect. वो पढ़ लिख के आए हैं, they have spent their entire youth in actually giving it their best in studying and education, and I'm not demeaning their education or telling them कि boss तुमको कुछ नहीं आता है, you have not seen the world. Sit on the table with the big boys and kind of communicate with each other, and you keep on doing that X2X thing with your leadership team. Otherwise, what happens if the communication goes wrong? It will go wrong down the lane. I mean, entirely it will go very naturally it will get dissolved or diluted when it's going down. So we have a habit, like all our leadership team, HODs, head of department, we get every week once or twice in a bigger room and kind of keep on communicating with each other and ensuring we on the same page. And believe me, and I love this and I'll quote this, सब बहुत बदमाश है, and they have their own thoughts, and they are not those simple folks who are just going to say because you are the owner or you are the person who's putting capital behind it, and since you own the thing, and they'll all agree. Now they fight with me like crazy, and they will not budge even if I say nah, I'm putting my foot down and this is what it is. Nahi, kaise foot down? We'll discuss, let's debate it, let's fight it. So that is the kind of room, the team that you need to sit with.
But that is the process. You filter out all the bugs. This is rather exactly the process where you filter out the nuisance that may crop up in the process when you implement it in the future. Because agar ye abhi jhagda ho raha hai, then that's good rather than having the jhagda in the
Better.
future. When the process when the process starts.
Of course, once you have rolled out something and somebody is not convinced, believe me, it is not going to happen because he is not his conviction is still missing from the entire piece. So he will not roll out with the best of his intentions. He will always roll out with the menace that yaar mera to suna hi nahi in log ne.
The ownership also, from the particular initiative.
And if it goes wrong, right, he'll be very happy. So we don't want that. So we write down processes, not just like sitting alone in a room, but with the room full of people and ensuring that everybody's on the same page. We'll take a lot of buy-ins from our team members. कि boss management is thinking कि ये ना driver payouts या driver का ये partners का ये payout होना चाहिए. You won't believe we changed the payout about 1.5 months back, 1 month back around. 1 month back. But it took us 3 months to change that payout. Just to come at a considerable situation that this is the new payout that we are going to give. Oh my God. 3 months I was fighting with everyone along with the entire leadership team, every partner, every hub manager, every executive. Sir, nahi, aise nahi, ye wala. I mean, imagine, of course, I mean, you have to draw a line somewhere.
Course. I mean, that's the
Otherwise,
protocol.
Otherwise, you'll never come to a conclusion. But yeah, it takes a lot of time. But what happened, the result I'll tell you. While it took us 3 months to build that payout model, the rollout
because
took
everything
2 weeks.
that needs to be, because the entire homework is
1,200 people converted. So you save on the rollout, and you save the time and energy and the fallback plan. It's like आप tech लिखते हो ना. So in tech, logic is very important than writing the codes. That is what I've learned the hard way recently. I'm not a techie, but when I sat with my tech team, right? So they said, boss, let us spend as much time and beat it out in the rooms to write the logic. कि अगर कूपन कोड चलाना है तो कैसे चलाना है, किसको दिखाना है, क्यों दिखाना है, कब दिखाना है, कैसे दिखाना है. Let's beat out the logic inside the room for next 2 months. Code writing can be done in 2 minutes. And people think about writing tech mein code is the most difficult part.
What to do.
Actually, it's the most easiest job. And with AI ML coming in, there are robots who can write codes for you. But you need good product guys who can actually build the logic behind the code. So that is what this is also. So execution will take lesser time if your product, your knowledge about the the roadmap is very clear. कि हमें ये करना है. And if that is clear, writing codes or implementing certain policies or implementing certain governance is far easier than actually if you just go randomly. And to pull it back, imagine 1200 ड्राइवर पार्टनर्स का पे आउट प्लान अगर कुछ गलत हो जाता तो स्ट्राइक हो रहा है, कभी गाड़ी नहीं निकल रहा है, कभी कुछ हो रहा है, कभी that would have been a bigger problem for me to address and roll it back and go back and communicate again. I mean, it would have been a crazy story. So when everyone was on the same page, it just took 2 weeks to kind of simply roll out. कुछ पता ही नहीं चला हम लोग को. I was in Delhi and came out the Google sheet came out, sir, everybody has rolled out. I'm like, great.
So, last question to you. I'll ask two questions. One is, how do you see the next 10 years? That's the first one. And while you answer me this, you have to also mention how, while doing that, while achieving those things in the next 10 years, what you have thought of, your vision, how also will you maintain the happiness quotient of your people? Because to achieve something which is Mayank's dream, Souvik may not be attached with it. Souvik may have a different dream, maybe my personal dream, which I'm not aligning with you. You said that communication is fine. Communication, okay, as far as I'm your employee, I'll agree with you to some extent. But I will also search for a better opportunity for me because I have a different dream to be achieved, which I'm not finding it aligned with here. So, what is Mayank's next 10 years plan? At the same time, how will he maintain the happiness quotient? Because once your people are happy, you grow by 10x.
Yeah.
Because they find that X factor in what they are doing, right? So how do you think is it they can be made happy just by good incentives and salary? There are a lot of other things that needs to be maintained, and by now you have already known that, those parameters of their happiness. So how do you think you can maintain this?
See, I'll answer the second part first. The first part is much easier, right? The second part, and I have been fairly decent in this space because if you come to my office, you'll find a larger section of the people that, I mean, especially, no, I'm not talking about the junior people because of course they are starting and they have a very different vision. I'm talking mostly about the leadership, the management team, because they are the ones having the similar vision with you. An accountant might not really have that vision. I mean, these are the people who will probably keep on coming, going. But you need a larger set of people with you who are actually your right and left hands to kind of take you further and get that vision. So for them, I have a very simple policy. Every year I make them write, what is your vision? Where do you see yourself in this company in the next 5 years? Whether it is promotions, whether it is ESOPs, whether it is just commercial angle, whether it is fame, or it could be you want to come in articles every day, or so what is your vision overall? Of course, normally a person writes mostly like financial stability and stuff, but what I've also come to realize is that behavior, right? So with my leadership team, it's always bro. It's never like you are a person junior than me because I am the owner or I am the founder. First of all, it's the mutual respect that goes without saying. That's something that I've maintained my entire life. So a guy like who is probably managing a project management or doing project management, so I'll name him. So his name is Pathak. Vasudev Pathak is from the telecom side of my business. For the past 15 years, I've been calling him Pathak Ji. I have never said anything else from Pathak Ji. I mean, that's the way I always thought, he should get that respect. Though he's same age. He's probably 1 or 2 years elder than me. I mean, so mutual respect, understanding their vision also. These two things, what I feel is very important. When you're walking with them in your journey, if they are not aligned to what you want to build, or as a founder you have a vision, then it's a challenge. I have also come across, while they have that vision with you for the initial few years, but it keeps on changing, so you cannot really tag along and जबरदस्ती नहीं कर सकते आप उसके साथ. I have said my goodbyes to a few very good people that I wish they were still around, and I wish they were still around with me to kind of get into this, I would say, the next 10 years of our lives. But unfortunately, there are few people who have left and wanted to pursue something else. And believe me, those people have again, every now and then have called me and taken my opinions, suggestions, feedbacks and all that. And I have been more than happy to give it back, out of which couple of them have actually come back and joined again.
We may not match on our work ethics, or maybe the work, the kind of expertise that we are thinking of. But the mutual respect that we share with us, the love that we share, the professionalism that we share, that is what enriches us from within.
बहुत simple चीज़ है. जो करोगे वही होगा.
Comes back.
What goes around comes back, right? These are very simple things. I take very simple things in my life very seriously. ऊपर जाके आपको जवाब देना ही होगा. This is something I was telling my driver partners yesterday only. कि boss, whatever you are doing in this life, you have to answer it back. Whatever you do today might come back and bite you tomorrow. So I have gone with a very simple philosophy. I have no grudges in my life. I have never troubled anyone without any reason. I have no intention of troubling anyone without any reason, because it's very small life. Just live your life and carry on. Lot of people have this grudges. अरे इसने मेरे साथ ऐसा कर दिया था, इसने अरे कर दिया चल यार आगे. I mean, you have 12 hours, 24 hours of a day. You look forward in your day. I mean, why are you so bothered about what happened with you yesterday? It's in the past. Go move on. The first question that you asked me for the next 10 years. So, I mean, I have never really thought about so long. And there's one reason to it. You don't know what is going to happen the next second. So how can you plan for the next 10 years? Is something that I again go by. Live every day what it comes. You don't know what is going to happen after 10 years, whether I'll be doing the same thing or I'll be doing something else. I was not knowing 10 years back that I'll get into a cab business. I never knew 20 years back that I'll actually be in business. Though my dad was a businessman, actually I was planning to work out of UK because I was completing my education there. I had thought maybe I'll continue doing that. So while on smaller notes, there are certain things that I want to do in 10 years is, get my businesses into a situation where it is not person driven, but as much as process driven as possible. That's something that I've learned very hard way, like, in typical family managed business, Marwadi business, I mean, you will see that it's very personal and person driven. It's not process driven. So the more company is process driven, it's easier to take a step back. Like, say for example, in 10 years I don't want to say continue with the business in the same fashion. I want to be a part of it in a very limited capacity, say as a strategic advisor. But then who does the rest of the job? Try to build processes of all your companies that you're building in the next 10 years in such a way that if tomorrow I'm not a part, things should keep on running with very good professionals and with very good people who want to continue the journey. Let them continue and process, and then people will be a part of that entire thing, right? But it should not be a person driven. So that's my focus for the next, at least near future also. The second thing that I also feel in the next 10 years is how we can contribute to the society. Like I've been thinking for the past couple of years, want to get into more social kind of angle of things. Like I don't know what am I going to do, but I want to in the next 10 years maybe something. I mean, there's no idea as such, but just to throw it there, I mean, maybe open some school or something like that. Not as a profit center or anything. Of course, everybody will think school hai to bahut profit banayenge, and not really. In fact, I feel education is very important. And when people work in our households also, like the house helps and all, I keep on ensuring that is your kid in school? Are you sure you're making them study? Because education builds your mind, and what you have in your mind comes out of into action. So that's very important, and I think India has come a long way, but I think I would want to do something in that space at some level. I'm not too sure how, when, what. Plans are not there, but would want to give back to the society in some way.
Fantastic. I think that's the vision I was expecting from you. When we were thinking of calling Mayank Bindal for the Tea Talkers podcast, we were discussing backstage that I'm sure that once he comes, he will be talking on these grounds, because as far as I understood him while meeting a couple of times in his office, he is this, and you have actually come out exactly what I thought of. There's a fantastic person behind this visionary guy, and he wants to change the way life happens here. And when we are talking about school, yeah, it's not about just the education from the books, but the behavioral education as well. Yeah, so that's a need of the hour in most of the schools. There are quite a lot of private schools who have started with this education as well, behavioral changes of young kids. But again, it's not very robust. It's not yet taken up in a very uh, systematically and scientifically. So that needs to be one thing which I would request you, if you are coming up, work on this first, more than the theoretical books and all this, the behavioral thing that needs to be inculcated in the kids.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, I don't believe in so education is probably the books behind you could give you education as well. I mean, I have never treated education from the NCRT course books. I mean, that's the most I would say boring stuff for me when I was in school. The idea behind education and schooling is more about what you just mentioned. What you can do with your life. A lot of people might not like geography, but a lot of people might like history, or a lot of people might like social sciences or something else. Unfortunately, in our school, again, that's a very big debate. I don't want to get into it. But this one fight between me and my wife also keeps on happening, is that, why are we putting my son into a school? Why is it even required? The world is moving towards AI ML. I think you should start learning AI ML today, because what we learned when we were young is actually of no use today. I wish one thing that I wish today, what I wish I had done something regarding this, learn something regarding technology, because the kind of businesses that we are into is so much dependent on technology, and I don't have any clue about technology. And when I sit, and the maximum time right now for the past couple of months that I've been spending is with my technology guy, because I want to learn as well at the same time that we want to implement it, but I want to learn also in my individual capacity.
Yeah, it's already happening.
To learn about technology today, and everything moves on technology. What I see in the next 10 years, apart from business, is that 90% things would be done by technology, and in some way or the other. It's already happening in today's life, but it is going to change more.
Yeah, Dubai, they have
started. See the driverless cars. I mean, I was amazed to see them. Crazy stuff.
It's so weird, you walk in and there is nobody inside the car, and you just sit down and push that button, it starts automatically driving. It's so weird. You feel like I'm some alien or something.
So when I see things like these, I feel like what is going to happen in 10 years is beyond me. I mean, I can't even imagine. I mean, there are so many things that you keep on seeing today also. Robots delivering food at your doorstep, in hotels, like pehle wo आते थे लोग लेके, and now today robots are starting, especially in China, Japan, Southeast Asian countries, driverless cars, drone
No, it's
deliveries.
It's happening.
I mean,
it's
when
already
you see
started.
and read and what is happening is just getting insane.
Yeah, true.
As I was saying, biotech
You're saving
technology,
lives sitting remote.
If that can also happen, then what's left? I mean, then fair enough. Which I never thought is possible at least for the next 10 years, but it's already happening. It's very difficult to say what's going to happen in 10 years. But yeah, technology is something which is going to really, really take command. And I think education, while I was saying education, well-being is also very important. But I say that, kids should learn from early age that how to adapt with technology, which is probably missing from our schools today. If your kids can understand technology from today, it's going to be great.
Ladies and gentlemen, and this conversation that we had today, it is very enriching for me to understand that what actually happens behind an entrepreneur's mind. It is not about making money always. It's not about making a larger office every day. It's about making a people ecosystem. The right ecosystem can create that sense of success in you. As I always say, that success is not measured by money, it's by the people, the relationships that we make. And Tea Talkers had been always focused, we had been always focused on only this ground, making people closer to you. The more great minds come closer, magic can happen. And Mayank has created that magic inside this session, sitting in this hot seat, and I would love to find him in more episodes in the days to come. One thing we which we haven't discussed today is about how Mayank lives his life. That is something which I want to hold on for the next episode. Whenever he gives me time, I would love to invite him once again in the Tea Talkers podcast and maybe nurture a little bit about Mayank Bindal, the founder of Snappy, the CEO of Snappy. And I'm sure if you are watching this sitting in Kolkata and maybe in the future sitting in Delhi, you will definitely go out and book a Snappy after this, thinking not about Mayank Bindal, thinking that you are contributing for a greener earth. Mayank, thank you so much for coming. It's
Thank
a
you so
pleasure
much, yeah.
interacting with you. You were just one call away. I said that, Mayank, I want to do this, and you said, okay, I'll come. So this is not something that I'm experienced with. People ask a lot of questions, kya, kyun, why, and you were who you are. You just said, I live and I think very simple way, and you actually understood what I want to do in this podcast, and you said that, okay, whenever I have time, I'll be there. And we are here now.
Thank you for having me. I think, as I said, I live a very simple life. I always like to meet people and learn more and more. And I think I would not leave these kind of opportunities because it again is something learning. I'll also take a few learnings from today, right? So thank you for having me here. And yeah, I mean, if you want another round of conversation, I'm
you
always
so much.
available. Yeah, just let me. I'm just a
Thank
shout
you so
away,
much
yeah.
for that. That was Tea Talkers podcast, ladies and gentlemen, with Mayank Bindal, the CEO and founder of Snappy. We'll catch up soon in our next episodes. Keep watching, subscribing, and sharing it to more people because people need this. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.